So there's just a few more things that you also want to consider before the final process of terminating somebody, because it's not just about letting them go because of poor performance, but you also have to think about yourself, right?
Yeah.
We talked about, we just basically spoke a little bit about some of the policies or guidelines that the person may have broken. You know, that's, you can identify those in the performance evaluation. Paul already spoke about speaking directly with the employee, making sure that you do a little bit of investigation on your own, because maybe the person was late because of a couple of different reasons. You know, maybe it was just the other day the SkyTrains
You're right.
down
That's a great example.
3 hours for someone to get on a bus, right? Zero control on their part. Even if they were able to take a taxi, there's no way that any of them were around.
Yeah, it was significant. Would your health be compromised because of it? Probably, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know, if you weren't able to get out of bed because they weren't able to come. Yeah. But if this employee has always had a good record, other than that, this would be a hard grounds to fire them. By the way,
exactly.
You couldn't just decide to fire them because of that day.
Yeah.
Right? Because they would have a good case to the fact that
definitely,
it was completely out of their control.
Yes. Going on, the proof, that's the documentation that you need to do, whether it's being written or you logged it on a journal that you've had conversations with a person. The progressive part.
And even with that, if it's theft, is it,
yes.
Is it suspected? Would you be able to prove that they actually were the one?
Yes.
Right? And the only one responsible?
Pretty tough.
That is really tough.
Yeah.
Unless you have a video camera or something like that, it's pretty hard to prove.
Which people have done.
Absolutely.
Taking money out of the wallet, those sort of things.
I don't mean, the expert here, so-called expert, early in my life that happened to me. I provided my gas card to fill up the gas tank, and I had an employee, that would fill up the gas tank but not return the card back right away. Now I have a significant policy around this because I found out later in the relationship that there were these charges going onto my card that I didn't know about. So it happens, and that is why for me, I have a strict policy that it goes back into my wallet right away. That there's some employees that have access to my PIN numbers and others do not. I don't recommend people having access to your PIN numbers on your debit card and stuff, but it is. I can't use those machines myself. I have no choice. So proof though is still very hard, because even at the end of the day, in that particular case, the RCMP said, "How do we know you didn't give her permission to utilize your card?" Right? So you had your PIN, had your how do we know, right? So it's all about proof, but at the same time, you need to protect yourself in many ways, right?
Yeah. And you've spoken a little bit also about providing opportunity to change. That's part of the disciplinary, or what's it called here? The progressive discipline.
Yeah, exactly. And what is a reasonable amount of time, right?
Yes.
You have to set that, and you have to tell them when you're going to go back and look at it again, right? And that should be straightforward. If you're, when you did that verbal warning, you need to say that we're going to review this again in a couple of weeks. Or in a month, or whatever your process is going to be.
And the very last one, once again, keep records.
Keep records.
Keep documentation, anything.
You've got to document. It is, you have to have it.
Finally, there's just, this is just another list of all sorts of things, because it's not
things to think about, for sure.
There's a ton of different things. We won't go through each one of these here, but
we'll do a little bit, I think, just in regards to the first one. The first one is probably your key, Fernando, right?
Yeah.
This one you reminded me of earlier.
Good point.
That, making sure, we use the words arrange home support services, but don't let someone go without actually having a plan in place, right? Again, that heat of the moment, anger, and say you're fired, but you're stuck. I didn't arrange anybody to come. I mean, obviously, if you're being abused or whatever, yes,
That's different.
absolutely, we're different.
Yep.
I'm talking about the fact that they're late again, and damn it, I've had enough.
Yep.
You know, maybe that won't be the time. Maybe wait a day or two and set yourself up so that you actually have somebody else.
I mean, you've done the work. You just have to go back into your backup
Yeah.
plan. You know, revisit it, make sure that you have, you know, the individuals that you've identified there to help out in case of emergencies are still available. So,
Exactly.
And other staff. So it's not that you have to start all over again. You've already done all this work before as part of the application process. So
Exactly.
go back to the documents that you've already worked on.
Yeah.
Use them.
So, and letting someone go or going through this process can be very stressful.
Oh, yeah.
You know, absolutely. Quite often I will bring somebody else, even myself. You know, I join other people, you know, when helping them in the process.
Yeah.
It is so much better to be with somebody during that process. It puts you in a better, stronger position to know that there's someone going to be there with you.
Definitely.
You know, because you do need to look at your personal safety, right? And again, you're not going to fire somebody while you're in the shower, right? You know, as the hot water comes on you. No, just kidding.
Yeah,
But,
that's a good example. Yeah, definitely.
right. You want to be careful about when you're going to do these kinds of things. Having documents ready. What we mean by that is making sure that if you're letting someone go and you made that decision, that their final pay is there with you, and have. I mean, you have 5 days to provide everything to your employee, including record of employment and all those kinds of things.
But if you're going to dismiss somebody, you want to have it all there ready.
Clean it right up, right? Have it. You know you're going to do it. Set up the day. Have it planned if you can. As long as you're not being abused, right?
Yeah.
Set it up and have all your new staff ready to go, and then do it. You know, also, you know, try and get your key back. You know, that kind of stuff too, in regards to, you can ask for your key at that point if they're giving them a key. What else? You know, again, you know, talking about respect and professionalism, but doing it in person, I think, is a very respectful way to do it. You know, for sending it by an email or a text message or something, right? This is not a professional way to do it.
Definitely.
You do have to look at your safety. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
You have to decide if this is an employee that's going to go off the handle and you're concerned for your safety, then you got to do what you got to do. Maybe that's a phone call then or something. But we've also talked about having someone there with you, right? Is another good way to do it. You know, and you know, if the, you know, just know that the employee will, you know, a lot of employees know it's coming too, right? You know, you know, if you've given them their warnings, you've talked to them about it and stuff, you know, they know it's coming. And just know that that anger period usually is that first, you know, 48 hours kind of things, right? Okay.